welcome to the cross-site scripting and filter bypass workshop. We're going to talk about getting past filters or intrusion detection systems. Just a bit about who I am. My name is Tanner Scott. I'm a senior consultant here at Optiv. I've been with Optiv for about 3.5 years. I've got a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity. I have my OSCP. I like attending conferences. I'm a gamer of all sorts, board games, computer games, all sorts. And I also enjoy CTFs. So the agenda for this workshop is we're going to go over cross-site scripting basics. Then I'm going to provide cross-site scripting proof of concepts. I'm going to give some real-world examples of why filtering cross-site scripting attacks is important. I'm going to show some examples of some scripting filter bypasses, and I'm going to give an example of a filter and how it works. And then from there, I'm going to do a demo and show you guys some cheat sheets. And then at the end of that, we'll have a hands-on session where people can go and try the labs that I posted in Discord. So cross-site scripting. So what is cross-site scripting? Just going over the basics. Cross-site scripting is an attack when an attacker can inject malicious JavaScript into a trusted web application. This can be a stored cross-site scripting, reflected, or DOM-based injection. Today, a lot of applications use some sort of filtering or sanitation to prevent these sorts of attack. This right here is just a basic alert box of cross-site scripting. So what's an attacker capable of with cross-site scripting? They can impersonate or masquerade as the victim user. They can carry out any action that the user is able to perform. They can read any data that the user is able to access, and they can capture users' login credentials. They can perform virtual defacement of a website, and they can inject Trojan functionality into a website as well. So to go over some proof of concepts of attacks, we're going to start with the data grabber. If you see here, the script is sending the user to a attacker server, and that's hosting a PHP file that will go ahead and grab the cookies, and it will send the cookies back to them. You can also access local storage and do the same thing, not just cookies. So this is an example of that file that you're sending the user to. That just grabs the cookies, stores it in a file, and closes the file. You can also do UI redressing. This is an example of what the code will look like for that. You can also bypass CSRF protection. So if they have CSRF protections on there and they have cross-site scripting, you're able to access this malicious JavaScript file, and it will make an XHR request. It will read the CSRF that's on the page, and you'll be able to make any sort of request as that user. Here's an example of the JavaScript file. This one in particular is grabbing the cookie or grabbing the token, and it's running the XHR request to delete an employee as an admin. Some real-world examples of why cross-site scripting is bad is in British Airways. In 2018, it was attacked by MageCart, which is a high-profile hacker group famous for credit card skimming attacks. The group exploited an XSS vulnerability in a JavaScript library called Feedify, which was used on the British Airways website. The attackers modified the script to send customer data to a malicious server, which used the domain name similar to British Airways. They had a fake SSL certificate. Users believed that it was from the secure server, and they were able to skim 380,000 credit card information. Fortnite was attacked in 2019. This is a popular game, and the XSS vulnerability affected 200 million users. A retired unsecure page was unnoticed by the developers. It had XSS, and attackers were able to gain unauthorized access to data of all the Fortnite users. That, in combination with an insecure single sign-on, they were able to redirect users to a fake login page. This would allow them to steal virtual currency in the game, record player conversations, or use reconnaissance for future attacks. and Checkpoint discovered it and notified it was unknown if the vulnerability was actually exploited. eBay was also attacked with cross-site scripting in late 2015, early 16. It was quite bad. The website had a URL parameter that would redirect users to different pages on the platform, but the value of the parameter was not validated. It allowed for attackers to inject malicious code into a page. The vulnerability enabled attackers to gain full access to eBay seller accounts, sell products at a discount, steal details. It was actively used by attackers to manipulate eBay listings of high value products such as vehicles, and it was remediated in 2017. So some techniques for filter bypassing. I just have some of them listed because there's so much, but the cheat sheets that I provided do have a lot more information on this. So here are the cheat sheets. Like I said, they are posted in Discord if you want to access them. We'll go over just basic modifications. Because of some complexity of some filters, depending if you modify them and the filter's not looking for that, you could actually make a cross-site scripting attack successful just by changing like the uppercase or lowercase on scripts, adding null bytes, adding encoded tabs or spacing. You can also use event handlers to pop up cross-site scripting. So instead of using like script alert, you can use like audio, video, SVG. There's so many different event handlers. Portswigger has a really nice cheat sheet to go through all these event handlers and tags. The attributes and tags, as I was just talking about, are also ways that you can bypass filters by using maybe a cross-site scripting attack and a value of an attribute, or you could also maybe use an arbitrary tag that maybe won't be looked at by the filter. You can also use delimiters and brackets to try to trick a filter into running a script. For instance, instead of double quotes, maybe single quotes or backticks. You can also double up on brackets as well if the filter is only stripping the first bracket. And obviously notice that since everything's doubled up there after the filter, it actually comes out as just a cross-site scripting attack that will execute. You can also use pseudo protocols. So, for instance, a tag with a H reference. Instead of using a website, you could use a JavaScript pseudo protocol, which would be a JavaScript alert one, and that can sometimes get past filters as well. You can also use character encoding. You can encode things in HTML, URL encoding, hex encoding, or Unicode encoding. Here are some examples of what those look like. Here on the bottom is a combination of all the encodings all working in tandem there. I like to go over a filter just as an example of how a filter would work and how you would bypass that filter. The filter I chose to show you guys is mod security. The advantages of that is it's open source and it's easy to install the Apache module, but the disadvantages are its filters are ineffective, it's infrequently updated, and there's no support for different encodings. So here's an example of the first phase of filtering that mod security would do. It's looking for these words and stripping them out. Here's an example of the second phase of some regex that is looking for more words and stripping that out. And the example here of when the filter would work is that first line there, the filter would catch. But however, It wouldn't catch these eval source 2Bs or anything with this encoding here. Another example would be here, where it would catch the first one, and the second one it would not catch. So I was going to do a little demo here, show you guys some cheat sheets. So the first cheat sheet here that I have pulled up here is from Portswigger. It's a really good cross-site scripting cheat sheet for going through different event handlers. You can come down here and choose different tags and events, as well as specify a browser to start figuring out maybe some event handler that would work instead of your standard script. Got quite a bit here. Same with the events. You may have like on load or on blur, uh, on error. And so you could just like pick these here and it will pull up like different cross-site scripting payloads that you could use and try out. This is a really good tool here. Payload of all the things has cross-site scripting information here. It's pretty robust. Check out all these different vulnerabilities or different ways to get past filters. And OWASP has a good cheat sheet as well, where you can go through shows polyglot, malformed A tags, all sorts of stuff. It's quite a long list of different sort of filter evasion tactics that you can use when it comes to cross-site scripting here. Another good resource I like here is Hacktricks. Hacktricks has a lot on the same information. So any of these four are pretty good to use. Um, just to show an example here as well. I was going to pull this up here. Just this is one of the labs here. It shows you a challenge, it shows you the code. And here, if you look, you're getting debug here. All right. So in order to get past the filter here, it actually is, it strips out, if you try to upload or add a PHP, PHP will actually, this is being entered into a comment, but since when you try to run PHP, PHP is going to make a comment and it's actually going to strip the rest of the payload out of the comments and it's going to execute it. As you see, you can get cross-site scripting to pop like that. So that was the demo I was going to go through. I did want to give people some time to actually go through the labs that I provided and then be able to ask me any questions through Discord while going through those. This specific lab also, if you're reading through the challenges, they actually do provide solutions as well up here. So it will give you the solution with the intended use, and as well as what would be the final solution to get that to pop. It's a good tool, good way to understand how the code's written, as well as what you can do to make get past the filter. if you would like to go through the labs, and just let me know if you need any assistance. That I'll be here. Just checking in. If anyone has any questions when they're going through the labs, they can go ahead and reach out through Discord if they'd like. We can go ahead and end training if people don't have any questions. You have the resources to go ahead and go through this and practice it as much as you want now. So we'll go ahead and call the workshop.